Hi, it's Jen. So today I'm going to share with you a project that I did about 4 months ago now. And as I do it, I will chit-chat with you with why I haven't been on here. And let's get right to it. So what I wanted to share with you first was a couple of finds that I found at the local thrift store. And I am so excited that I found Edith Holden books. Now, I've seen many people craft with these, and I've been searching high and low, and I finally found some. So I don't know about you, but when you find something at a thrift store, I was inside, I was squealing so hard, and but I contained myself, and I walked out of there like an adult. But when I got to my car, I can't promise that I didn't. But I was so excited when I found these, and I was going down to the thrift store, and I was going down the mountain to visit somebody, and I thought, you know what, I'm extra early, I'm just going to run in and see what I can find. And I always like to look for through the books just to see if I can find a little treasure here and there. And these two beauties were sitting in a box, just out in the open, waiting for me to take them home. So I was so excited. So I found The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. And then I also found The Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. And so, super happy. And the reason why I wanted to share this today is because for those of you that are still looking at your local thrift stores and whatnot, and used bookstores to find this, I was looking for something totally different. The size is totally different than what I thought it was. I thought it was a lot bigger than it is. And I want to show you the books without the book jackets and the spines, just so you know kind of what books you're looking for. So the first one, The Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. Well, I'm going to show you both of them. They both look like they have stencil writing of the name of the book. And then down the spine, it has her name, Edith Holden. And then if I just move this stuff up, you'll be able to see the book publishing company. Okay, so there's that one. And then I thought I would show you it without the book jacket. So this one is The Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. So that book is green, and it has like a texture to it and gold writing. And on the spine as well, it has gold lettering. And the publishing company for this one is Arcade. And it just has the name of the book and then Edith Holden. Yeah, Edith Holden. So I don't know about you, but when I look, I just scan through the books because I kind of have in mind what I'm looking for. So I thought I would share with those of you that still haven't found it that maybe it doesn't have its book jacket. So there's this one. I just think it's beautiful. And look at the inside pages. Like, how beautiful, eh? Gorgeous. So there's the first one. And then The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. This one is a beautiful peach one with like a brown spine, and the lettering is gold as well. And it has, you know, the name of the book, her name, and this is Michael Joseph Webb and Bauer on the spine. And this one is just as beautiful. This one doesn't have anything on here, but both books are absolutely beautiful. You know, when I see them online, I think they're so beautiful, but when you get them in person, they're even, yeah. And the paper is like super thick. So this was, I'm very thankful. And I have to admit, I was a little bit of a pessimist when looking for these. I'm thinking, because I live in a smaller town, I'm thinking, oh, I'm never going to find anything here. But I'm very thankful that I did. These both were $1 each, so I spent $2 on them. And just a really quick story as I flip through this one, the pages of this one. I had bought, oh, look at how cute that is. I had bought one of these on Amazon. I think it had to be a few months ago now. And it was $23, and I'm thinking, you know what? It's a treat for myself. I'm going to use it for my making myself some journals. Well, come to find out, Amazon contacted me back and said this is no longer in stock. We can't fulfill it. And so I was kind of, you know, disappointed. But in the long run, I wasn't, because I'm like, $23, Jen? Seriously? You're going to really buy that? So I'm very thankful that I didn't get it now, because I got them for $2 for 2. So both of the books are equally beautiful. I don't like one over the other because I've been looking through them and they're beautiful. Now I know why people are using them. They're just absolutely stunning. So I just wanted to share that little find. I was super excited and I really wanted to share it with you guys. And I wanted to share with you the information about what the books look like on their spine without the book jackets. And because when I was looking for, I don't know what I was specifically looking for, but I was looking for something bigger than that. And, oh, I didn't share with you the size. Sorry. So the size of the books are 9.5 inches by 7 1/4. So it's 9.5 inches by 7 1/4. So it's a lot smaller than I thought. I thought it was more like a flower book, a garden book. They're usually a lot bigger. But so you're looking for something probably a little squatter than what you're thinking if you've never seen one of her books in person. So I wanted to share with you that. And then the project that I'm doing today, as you saw on the picture, it all stemmed from this roll here. Now, what this is, the specific name is, it's called Water Activated Craft Paper Tape. Now, I got this at the secondhand store, and it didn't have the name of it on it, and I looked at it, and I'm like, anything with craft paper, I just love, right? And so I'm thinking, oh, it's a little shiny. I bet you stays on will do the trick. Well, when I opened the roll at home and opened it to this size, well, you get your nice craft paper. And so there's a few things that I've been doing with it. I will share with you over time what I'm doing with it. But the first thing that I wanted to do was make my own washi tape. And so I do have other samples, but they kind of smeared because my ink wasn't the greatest. But what I did is I just took a strip of it, stuck it down, and then I just stamped a whole bunch of different bugs on it. And now I have my own, you have your own layering piece to put in, because we're all into collages, right, and layering. This is a nice add-in for when you want to do your layering. So, super love this. This looks good with white ink. My white ink is the one that bled. I need to get a better white ink, but it looks beautiful on the craft paper. Absolutely beautiful. Well, then I wanted just to take little pieces of the tape, and I thought, what could I do with it? Like little pieces like that. And I'm like, oh, I could stamp on it. And so this is my first thing that I came up with. Is I just took a little piece of tape, of that craft paper tape, and I just stamped on it. And I made this little tag. And this is all, I kept it all neutrals, monochromatic. And then I thought, oh, maybe I need to add color. So I added, you know, a black chain and grommet, but I think I would have done bronze next. I don't prefer that one, but that's okay. This is just for my use, right? And so that was my first one. Then I'm thinking, oh, I need more color. It's too monochromatic. So I did this one next, and I do like her. She's a good one. I thought that looked really cute with using black thread. Then I thought, well, what if I add more black when I stamp? And then I got to her. And then after that one, I wanted to do a few more. And then I got to this. So this is what we're going to be making today. It's just something small and something quick. I'm going to show you throughout my oncoming weeks what I have been doing these past 7 months, approximately 7 months, since I haven't been on here lately. So how about we get started, and as we do different steps, I will share with you different things that I've been doing. Now, if you don't want to use this as a charm, because this can easily be used as a charm. This can be used to dangle on a tag. It could be used, you could put it wherever you want in your journal. And if you didn't want to do that, what I wanted to share with you, this would be really good to use as a closure. I'm going to take this, let's say if I just put it on a page, you can use this as a tuck spot right here. Just glue it right here, and then that's a beautiful tuck spot right there. I think that looks really nice on a dictionary page, actually. And so you can use it as tuck spots at the top, at the bottom. Say you wanted one down here, you can just put that there. I think these are great. You can just use them as ephemera pieces. You can journal on them, stick them in different places. You can use them for whatever. I just wanted to give you a couple for instances what to use these for. And this also, I'm going to just grab, so it'd also be good, say if you had an envelope or you made an envelope, this would be good as a closure. Stick that on the back of an envelope and then just put this behind it, right? So I thought this would be a good closure. You know how we like to fold our papers to make it have a point and then we need a closure? This would be perfect for a closure as well. So it's just whatever you want to use these for. They don't just need to be used for little pieces of ephemera. You can just, you know, easy use them as tuck spots as well. And if you don't want to do this, if you think, I'm not really interested into that, you could do something and you can make it into a hidden paper clip. Now, I do have a video of how I make my hidden paper clips, and I'll link it above. The only thing I did differently is I used my circle punch for my base, and it's 2.5 inches. This circle is 2.5 inches. So that's the only thing I did differently. So I will link that above my video for those. And yeah, I made this into a hidden paper clip, and I think it's so, I use this actually in my personal journal for fall because like my everyday planner, because in the fall where I live we get a lot of moths, and so that's why I'm doing moths. That's why I wanted to incorporate that in. But I think these are so cute as paper clips as well. So you can, however you want to use them, that is great. And I'm just going to share with you how I made mine. So again, how I stated, it all started with this paper tape. So this is 1.5 inches wide, and I approximately cut them at, I believe it is 1 1/4. Yeah, no, it's 1 3/4 inches wide that I approximately cut it, like rip it at. And the reason why I say approximately is because what I do is I first initially measure 1 3/4, and then I just keep one of these as a guide, and then I put it on top of one another, and then I just, and I don't want it, you don't want it to be perfect, you want those ripped lines for this look, and so that's why I say it's approximately. So that's what I do there, and then what I do is I rip off enough, I believe I do 12 at a time, and so I rip off 12 and then I lay them all on my mat, and then I prep them ahead of time, so that way I have them here on my clip ready to go, so that way if I want to play or, you know, just try different things, they're all set to go. And then I keep these ones that I haven't done as templates, I keep these in the back so I can easily take that apart, use it, and I'm all set to go the next time I want to prepare these. So I will keep one out for us. And what we're going to do, I'll just keep that there for us to look at. So the next thing you're going to do is you want to get your gesso out. Now, if you don't have gesso, you can use paint white acrylic paint because we're just stamping on it, right? So it's not like you're wanting to journal all over it. So you can use your acrylic paint, but I'm using acrylic gesso. Now this gesso is cheap. It is from Walmart. It was $9.99 for the bottle. And for my use for it, I'm okay paying that price. And then all that I do, and I have been enjoying using gesso, and I can just imagine if I get something more expensive, how much it will be even funner. So all I do, where did that go? I wanted to share with you what when I do a whole bunch at once, I do take my a gift card and I use it as my palette and I squirt gesso on there, and then I go all around and just paint a little bit. But when I just do one, I don't bother, but I just do keep this handy so I can use it. And I'm a true Canadian because I got myself my Tim Hortons, right? For any Canadians out there. But yeah, you just take a little bit of gesso. I needed a scrap piece of paper. Now, I don't know about you, but every time I need a scrap piece of paper on camera, I can never find one. And then when I'm by myself, you're like floating in them, right? So, alright, so I'm just going to dab a little bit here because you don't want it too thick. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to paint on your gesso. And you don't want to put it too thick. And you don't want to paint it just one way. I do different strokes. You go up and down. The messier it is, the better. And there you go. And then you let it dry. Alright. So you just let that dry, and then after that you're ready to stamp. So I have one prepared for us to use. So I'll just set that aside to dry. And here, we'll just take one out of here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to stamp on them. Now that we painted, we're going to stamp. Now, don't worry about it being, as it dries, it kind of curls up a little bit, but that doesn't bother me just simply because, once it dries and you put them all together in here, it kind of flattens them out a little bit so you can work better with it. So don't be too concerned about that, because once you put it in your clip, you'll be good to go. Alright, and the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to stamp. So I got my inks out. I use archival ink in coffee and potting soil. Alright, then what I do is I have this stamp. It is from a Stampin' Up! Set that I have. It's retired as of now. I will try to find the name of it and put it down below, just in case you're curious. And so I just take this little stamp and then I just ink it up. Now, for the past little while, one of the reasons why I haven't been making any YouTube videos is because once the pandemic hit, I started, I was working, and I was working a lot, and so the biggest thing was I was just trying to keep my head above water with everyday things that I need to do. So after I came home from work, working a full day, you know, you need to prepare supper, get your laundry done, all that kind of stuff, and then get to bed not long after because you have a big day the next day, right? So that is where I have been. Well, then it slowed down, and then after that, what happened? I was starting to get back into, I was doing some crafting and whatnot, and I'm thinking, well, before I move on, all that I did was I inked. I just did this twice because it's a smaller one. If you have a bigger script one, that's great. You can stamp all over it. Now that I got that done, I'm going to use another stamp. And it says, I don't know where this one's from. I won't be able to tell you. It was just a cheapie, like a no-name. It just says number 1. So I'm going to use coffee for this because I don't want the lines too, like, I want them noticeable, but you know what I mean? Kind of in the background. So I'm going to stamp it 3 times with the number 1 at the top and then lines going down. I'm just going to do exactly what I did with my sample one. And you can design this obviously differently with whatever stamps you have. You don't have to go buy anything. Just use what you have and make it your own, because I bet you it'd be even more beautiful. So yeah, I've been working, and then after that, a few other things had happened when I was wanting to start taping again. One thing that happened was my computer broke. I was gonna do, and I did do like a few videos already, and anyway, that was a big process. And then, so my computer broke. As I continue talking, I'm just going to ink around the edges. So my computer broke, and then that took a while, so that was a bit. And then after my computer broke, my husband and I got in a car accident. We were stopped. I picked up my husband from work, and we were stopped turning left to come into the road that leads to our home. And a young girl hit us with, like, bang on, didn't even try stopping. And so that took a lot out of us. Thankfully, we're okay. There's nothing wrong. It did take I mean, we're middle-aged, so we just didn't bounce back. Our backs are sore. And I couldn't, for the longest time, do any crafting because of that. I couldn't sit and do anything. So that took its toll. And then after that, my oven broke. So right now, I currently don't have an oven. The oven top works, thankfully, but the inside of my oven doesn't work. And where we bought it, the warranty, in order to get a new oven, you have to buy it there. And it's going to take till January to get. So that takes time, me going and cooking elsewhere, different places, so that way my family can have food. And I have the crock pot and all that kind of stuff too, but it's amazing how much you use your oven, right? So that has taken a whole bunch of time. Now I'm taking the moth stamp. I got this from Tim Holtz stamp. I will link it, not link it, but I'll write it down below. And we're just going to put in, that's going to be your central focal point. And you can use whatever stamp you want, obviously. Just whatever you like. And I got to really make sure this is, last time I made the video, it did not stamp well. I need to get a refill for the StazOn. So we've been there. So there's so many things happening as of, it just contributes to everything. So that is where I've been. I've been recovering from a car accident. I've been working, and we have had issues with our computers. We've had our oven break down. So, it's just life. I hope everybody's doing well, though. I want to thank all of our new subscribers that we have. That was nice to have you here. And I hope that you feel welcome. Alright, so we're just going to stamp this moth, and then what we're going to do, see how light he is? I'm going to try to get it darker. That's okay. Hopefully we can get it back. Alright, guys. I'm going to keep this a little bit lower. So, I hope everybody else is doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope everybody's feeling good. And are you guys crafting? Are you guys getting a lot of things done for your Christmas gifting and that kind of thing? Oh, that looks better. I like that. Looks cute. Alright. Okay, so let's move on. That can dry. So the next thing you want to do is use a piece of cardstock, and I just punched a circle, like I said previously, a 2.5 inch circle. So we'll need one of those, depending what you're doing. If you're making just a coin, if you're making just this shape to use as a tuck spot or ephemera, you'll just need one piece of cardstock. But if you're doing a hidden paper clip, you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is you need to get a piece of a vintage, it doesn't have to be vintage, whatever paper you want to use. If you want to use a dictionary page or encyclopedia, just whatever you want, right? So whatever paper you want to use, get that out now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my glue stick. I use the all-purpose glue stick from, it's acid-free, photo-safe, and non-toxic from Elmer. And one thing that I've learned that you want to do when you are gluing this, you don't want the bumps of the glue. So if you see any bumps of glue, take your finger and you're going to want to smooth it out. Now what we're going to do is I'm only going to glue it on the one side, because we're going to take the other side over and glue it down. I mean, if you get glue over there, it's not a big deal. And so we're just going to do this. And I don't worry about the edges or the bottom, just because we're not going to use those as of right now. I'll just put a little bit over on that side. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold this paper in half. And I don't go right to the edge. What I try to do is match up this word with the word right here. And just because what I want to do is I want to fold it in half, so the middle space here is you're going to want that to be in the middle. So because we're going to use this for something else after we use it for a circle. So there you go. And then what I do is I take my bone folder and I'm just going to smooth it out, and that looks really good. And because my next video I'm going to share with you what we're going to do with the scraps from this project. And there you go. And this is what you want. You want this to be folded in half. Now I have one that's already dry, and you're going to want to let this dry before you punch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a circle, and I'm going to try to get it in the center of the words on the right and on the left. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get it centered. That's how I'm trying to center it. Just because there's a little bit of hangover here, but you don't want to center it that way. And there you go. And you're going to want to keep this, and then when you do your next punch out, you're going to want to leave, because we're going to use these again, you're going to want to leave the same amount of space that's up at the top, above the circle, below the circle. Alright, and it doesn't have to be, I'm just going to guesstimate. Guessing is fine for me. And actually, this is what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer. And then I'm going to just put that aside, and we'll make something with that the next video. Alright, and then and then you go on with your centering, and I put it, when I punch mine out, I put it the paper right down to hit the end of the punch. And there you go. And then you just continue that way, and you'll be able to get 3 from my size of paper. And these are the things that we're going to be using right now. Alright, so the next thing that you're going to need is sewing paper, pattern paper. So you're going to need this. You can do this one of 2 ways. I've tried both, and I do have an example for you. I have this one. I'm going to share with you 2 examples. Try to get this out of the way. Alright, the bee, I just put the pattern flat down. And the ladybug, I did it in pieces. I prefer the ladybug because it has more texture than the bee, but if you are pressed for time and if you don't really want to be taking the time to glue down stuff, like different little pieces, I would just glue your piece on like that. But for me, I like it and I know it's getting covered up a bit, I just think it just looks so much better when you do it in pieces. But you're going to need your glue stick again. That's all I use. And what all you're going to do is you're going to rip your pattern into pieces, and then you're just going to glue it on and lay it down. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fast forward this part so that way you don't have to see me do this part. Okay, and I'm going to fast forward it right now. Alright, and so now we're done putting the tissue on the dictionary page. So what you want to do is let this dry. It doesn't take a long time to dry. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut all around the outside of the circle. Now the one thing that I didn't say at the beginning before I fast forward everything, you're going to want to make sure that when you're gluing things on, depending on your design, you're going to want your dictionary pages words to be the right side up. So you want to make sure before you start gluing that you have it the way that the directional that you want it to be. So just to keep an eye out for that. And yeah, don't worry about the edges, about making it perfect, because you can always cut it after. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to cut around the circle, get rid of all the excess. And here we go. Takes me a little longer to cut this. And there we go. And so that's what your design will look like now that it's all cut. Now, one thing that I do like to do before I start putting on my brown piece, the stamped piece, is I like to make sure things are glued down. See, here's a piece that's sticking up right there. I just go around and make sure everything's glued down, so that way things are going to be laying down properly, and then I'm not going to have things all over the place. So I just take my hand, rub it, and I know there is some stuff on the edges. I don't worry too much about the edge pieces too much, because we are going to be sewing it. And there you go. You just do that all around your piece, making sure that things are glued down all the way, because we're only using our glue stick. All right, and so the next thing that we're going to do, what I like to do is I'm going to bring my paper back, and I'm going to get my gesso. So what I'm just going to get my finger, and I like what Tim Holtz says, get your brushes, get your tools. And so I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to kind of, I always want to dab it on the paper first so I don't go heavy-handed on my piece. And then I'm going to just take gesso, or whatever you have, it's fine. And I'm going to lightly go around my whole piece. And when you do that, you will find pieces that need to get glued down. So I'm just going to do that right now, go along all my piece. So, and continue putting some gesso down. And the gesso looks really good in the corners. Now you don't want to go heavy-handed with this. I've done this before, and I went really heavy-handed with the gesso, and the piece just looks washed out. So I try not to go overboard, because I'm the type of person that, oh, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and then it's like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that little bit more. See, right here? But it's nice when it hits the edges of your tissue paper. It looks amazing. I have to go really light on my piece just because I'm not letting it dry first. It only takes a few minutes. But nonetheless, okay, I'm done. I'm stopping there. Because it does add a little bit to your piece when you have that done. I found it adds just another layer to the piece. Now, what I did with some of mine, the beginning of mine, I did use a stamp at this point. This is just if you want to use it. I don't know, it's a ruler stamp, and I just did it really lightly. But here you'll see I used a lot of gesso, and it just washes the color out. I did a little bit lighter hand on that one, but this one I really try to keep it light, and so I like that look. So I'm going to just continue with what I did here. I'm not going to do any more stamping. I like what this is looking like, and so I'm going to get this out, and now I'm going to ink all around the edges. Because I did do this video before, and there was just so many errors in it that I thought, you know, oops, see? And you catch things that need to be glued as well, which is totally good. And I'm not, because I haven't done this in such a long time. I know there's a few times too, I did it this time, but I'm totally off camera. You can't see what I'm doing. So I'm totally off my practice. So if that happens this time, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm using the archival and potting soil. That's what the ink that I'm using right now, just in case you're wondering. Okay, this one didn't get ink glued. It's because I need there we go. And there we go. So you just gotta fiddle with it, and if you don't want to fiddle with it, you can just do the, just lay it down. But I find it adds texture and just looks yummy when you do it this way. Alright, and I'm gonna stop there. We can get a little dark. Oh, yes, it looks so good. Okay. So the next thing that I did is I'm just going to glue this down. Now there's a few ways that you can glue this down. You can either use the glue on the back of the paper. I did find, even with StazOn, that it did make the ink on the other side bleed a bit. So I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac and, yes, get going. Okay. Oh, my poor hands. Alright, this one's not coming out for me. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Just use this one. And then we're just going to glue this down. Now, I tried gluing this down with like fabric and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't like it myself. So you just need to do what you enjoy. And if make it your own. I know sometimes when we watch crafts, it's like, I don't like it. But just adapt it so it's your style. And I like you. Alright. So you just center it as best you can. I'm just making sure the piece fits on there, because it's kind of cut crooked, but I love that. Making sure my words are straight. And there we go. And one of the reasons why I like putting arrows and lines and all that kind of stuff on here, it just makes your piece look even more grungy. You know, it just makes it look good. I found, because I found if I didn't have that kind of stuff, it was just kind of, you know. So I try to use the plain tissue more in the center, so that way around the edges I can use stuff that's a little bit more like the wording and arrows and stuff. So that's why I do that. I'm just going to straighten this. There's a piece right here that didn't get glue, but that's okay. Alright, and so there's that. Then what I'm going to do is you can take your circle, one of your circles. I like this back side because it's more grungy. This is going to be the back of it. And I am going to just ink it up. You're going to want to ink it up first before you sew. So I'm going to do this, and I'm using potting soil again, just so it, because I have this white cardstock is tea-dyed. So it just kind of blends in, so I want it to stand out a little bit more. So there you go. So you want to ink that up before you do any sewing. So we got that prepared. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this on top of here. So it's sturdier of a piece, and I have a piece of, where is that? I have a piece of my tissue that needs cutting. Boop. Okay, so I am going to start gluing that on using my Fabri-Tac again. And then we're going to make our number. Now, you can decorate this. This one I'm going to leave blank, I think, just because I want, sometimes when I make them, you're going to want to decorate them differently according to the book that you're making. So I'm going to keep this one blank for myself, so that way I can add different things to it if I want. So I'm just going to glue this down to the circle. And you want it, and it's the same size. The circles are the same size. And while it's still wet, you're going to, while there's movement with the glue, you're going to want to make sure you put it centered. The circles are centered. Want to make sure it's glued down. I know I have this out of the camera, but I was just making sure it's all glued down. And there you go. And so there's that. And then it will look better. Like at this point you'll be like, yeah. But once you get your sewing all around it, it makes it look even better. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to sew this so that way I can show you what it looks like sewed. Now, the one tip that I will give you, I am not the best sewer, but the first I do it twice, and I want it to be messy. That's my whole goal when I want it to look messy. So what I do is when I go around it the first time, I try to do a perfect circle, put it all the way around, and then the second time I go around, I swerve in and out of that line. And I really like how that looks. It's just so that you know what I do, but you do you. So I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to sew this, and then I'm going to share with you what it looks like. Well, I got the sewing done, and I think it just adds a little more to our piece. I really like it. And now what I did is I stamped a number. Now these numbers that I have is from the Tim Holtz stamp set with, what is it? I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but I will put it down below where I get my numbers from. Now, and then, because I'm going to make it just like the ones I did, you don't have to decorate it this way. Obviously you can, you know, put material and whatnot, but I liked the numbers for some reason. But you can use what you like. So I'm just going to put this number right up to the top here. And I usually put this on before I sew, if I know what I'm doing. And there you go. And I kind of like this because it looks like it's a specimen type of a card type of thing. And if you really want it to make it look like a specimen card, what you can do is get your transparency sheets, and oh, that would be cool. Okay, so if you want to make it look like a specimen container, all you need to do is get your transparency sheets, cut a circle, and how you would do that with a punch. You know what? Let me get a transparency piece right now, and I will share with you what I do. If I can find it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it right now on camera, but if you get a piece of transparency, all you need to do is put a piece of cardstock behind it, and then you can use your punch. Okay? So get your piece of transparency, put a piece of cardstock behind it, and then you can use your punch. Then what you can do is put that over top, and then sew over top of it, and it could be your specimen. So that would be awesome. So there we go, and all I need to do with this one, just to help it out a bit, is I had some Kleenex, and I just want to dab the glue a little bit. I don't want that to be seen. And there we go. And there is your little tuck spot, your charm, your specimen. And I think that would be really cute, the transparency over top of that, when you use it as a paper clip. Yeah, that would look really nice. So I hope you like this little project that I did. I hope you give it a try. And let's remember, don't throw away your junk. Let's journal with it. Take care, guys.